Welcome to the latest New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary direct from our assignment desk, otherwise known as my compost heap. Let's see what stories we're working on this hour. Well, people were throwing their metaphorical hats in the air and eating real pizza and celebrating for minutes on State Street this week to celebrate the big victory of their candidate for mayor in New Haven. Justin Elicker won a fourth term with 84% of the vote. He won by 10,000 votes. More than that, that's a big victory. It's so exciting to win a big victory in politics. But why do we win them? So that we can dream and govern big. Justin Elicker's predecessors used to try to do that and use their political capital. John Daniels put into place a controversial needle exchange to save lives with AIDS, and started a program putting together cops and Yale child psychologists to help kids who witness violence. We didn't have other cities to copy. Other cities copied us. John DeStefano did a first-in-the-nation plan to help immigrants with his immigrant ID cards. He did a first-in-the-nation school reform that included teachers. Other people came to us. We couldn't just copy. Toni Harp, she did community canvases and youth stat to deal with youth violence. Other people came to us. What if we decide that winning big means thinking big and doing things big without feeling like somebody else has to do it first? For instance, maybe we can lead the way in finding a new way to tax and assess properties so that wealthy out-of-town developers don't get big breaks at our expense, instead of waiting to see for somebody else to do it first. Well, Unite Here and their political arm did not win big. They won really small in Ward 3. Their whole citywide effort was to re-elect one alder, which they did by like 45 votes. They lost in the primary, the one alder they tried to elect. They lost in Fairhaven the cycle before, the one alder they tried to elect. They lost in 2019 when they tried to re-elect the mayor. Now they still win. They have lots of alders who don't get primary, don't get opposed in general election for real, and they still control the local government because in 2011 and 2013 they thought big and they won big because they weren't just trying to win. They had an agenda to change the city that inspired people. For instance, bringing back true community policing, for creating a jobs pipeline for people to get real jobs. So it's great that they're still trying to govern and win elections, but maybe thinking big, let's say with the schools. Do they have any idea, any vision of how we're going to improve public education? That's the challenge. Well, in Ward 25 and Ward 26 in Westville, they didn't just get out the vote this week, GOTV, but as Tom Breen reported in The Independent, they GOTF got out the food. They told voters, when you come to the polls, we want you not just to fill out ballots, but to bring food and money for people who have lost their food stamps because of the federal budget crisis. That's a vision of politics that thinks big, that isn't just about winning votes, but winning a better city. Well, Ned Lamont is filing papers to run again. He hopes to win big. The same week that he's watering down an already watered down effort to deal with the big problem of affordable housing in our state, which makes a person wonder, why do you want to run for office? Why do you want to win if you can't deliver for people and think big and dream? You know, people who ran for office and won big used to also think big. They used to give speeches that they thought about hard, about what they stand for, and then rally people to deliver. There used to be books like this, Words That Made American History, where leaders like Lincoln and others really thought about what they were doing, inspired people, and then brought them to action. Well, there was one election this week when it happened in New York. Can you imagine one of the people I just talked about saying the kind of words that Zohran Mamdani said in his victory speech? Just one example of what will go in the next edition if there's ever a book. He said, "Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not the hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands if we don't just win big in an election, but think big and govern big." Until next time, this New Haven Independent Vlog News Summary. And remember, let's always pick up and recycle our trash, including our compost, while we still can.